teacher in books, and I know I usually share children's books on my Instagram page, but today, with Women's History Month fastly approaching, I have 4 recommendations for adults. The first book that I would like to recommend is titled Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson. And I enjoyed reading this book because I was able to learn about her modeling career as well as her tumultuous relationship with Miles Davis. She talked about her roles in Sounder, as well as the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. And Viola Davis wrote the foreword in this book because she considered Cicely Tyson to be a role model, another dark-skinned, thick-lipped woman, as she stated, that she could relate to, and to see her act on screen was amazing. So that leads me up to my second recommendation, which is Simply Finding Me, which is written by Viola Davis, and she talks about growing up and not always being accepted for her dark skin as well. And on the back, you see a picture of little Viola. Then the third book is The Light We Carry, Overcoming in Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama. And if you enjoy reading her first book, Becoming, I'm sure you will enjoy this book as well. And then my final recommendation is titled Twice as Hard, the stories of Black women who fought to become physicians from the Civil War to the 21st century. And it's written by Jasmine Brown. And it says, a fascinating journey, Damon Tweedy, MD, author of Black Men in a White Coat. And I'd like to share a little bit from this book. No complete history of Black women physicians in the United States exists, and what little mention is made of these women in existing histories is often insubstantial or altogether incorrect. In this work of extensive research, Jasmine Brown champions a new history, penning the long-erased stories of Black women physicians in permanent ink. The legacy of African American women physicians began with Dr. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, whose dream of working as a physician led her to embark on that career path at a time when slavery was still legal. Only 14 months after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, Crumpler graduated from medical school and then promptly moved to Richmond, Virginia to provide medical care for the newly freed slaves who had been neglected and exploited by the medical system. The author's considerable research reveals a history of women like Dr. Crumpler who have overcome every obstacle in order to care for their communities. She tells the stories of women such as Dr. Edith Irby Jones, the first African American to attend a previously white-only medical school in the Jim Crow South, where she was not even allowed to eat lunch with her classmates or use the women's bathroom. Dr. Jones' tenacity inspired others like Dr. Joycelyn Elders, who after meeting her, changed her career ambition from becoming a Dillard sales clerk to becoming a doctor. In 1993, President Bill Clinton appointed Dr. Elders as the U.S. Surgeon General, making her the first African American and second woman to hold this position. So if I turn a few pages in here, Twice as Hard, I have something else that I'd like to share. And in it, the author, in her prologue, she starts off talking about Dr. Mary Chin and how her voice seemed very familiar to her. It says, her story resonated with me. As a Black woman medical student who will be the first in my family to become a physician, I faced my own set of trials. When Dr. Chin recounted her experience with medical colleges who disregarded and ostracized her, I felt the burn of salt being rubbed into wounds that had not had the opportunity to heal. It was the beginning of my junior year in college at Washington University in St. Louis and my first day back in my neuroimmunology lab. After a few weeks of a vacation, I approached the lab's entry door with my ID in hand. An older white man who I didn't recognize trailed behind me. He didn't provide any explanation about his connection to the lab, and I didn't request one. While the lab is large and composed of multiple smaller labs within one space, we have a culture of opening the door for one another. We assume good intent. This is the mindset I adopted as I prepared to give this unidentified man access to my lab. Swipe. I placed my ID through the card reader, but a red light flashed in response. I reminded myself that this card reader was finicky, so I tried again. And she goes on and explains her ordeal and what happened and how he wasn't so kind, how he questioned her even being in that space. So something else I wanted to share that I thought was excellent. Immediately, my body froze. While his question may have seemed innocent, the doubt laced into his words brought back to me my childhood. Are you supposed to be in this lab? Is basically what he said to her. Since elementary school, other kids have told me that I am stupid and will never belong in the highly praised realms of science and medicine. You're black. Black people aren't smart. When my AP calculus teacher announced that I had scored at the top of my class on the midterm exam, my classmates looked at me with shock. I was the only black person in the room. They didn't understand how I could have outperformed them on a test, let alone a math test. Then, as I neared the end of my high school career, people who claimed to be my friends suddenly turned on me. They confidently explained that I would get accepted into college because I was black, not because I had a near perfect GPA with countless AP classes on my transcript, coupled with the fact that I was the president of multiple organizations and a varsity athlete. My academic achievements were worthless in their eyes. The only purpose I served was filling a quota. To make matters worse, numerous classmates told me that I would never succeed in higher education or in a STEM career. I was a black woman, twice disadvantaged. Success was incompatible with my identity. Okay, but did she let any of that stop her? No, she did not. So another recommendation, twice as hard. So thank you. I hope you have the opportunity to purchase these books to read during Women's History Month or to check them out at the library. Happy reading. See you later.